He's never fought us. Not us united.
Die. Oh! I can so see that. That's it. Why, hello there. Welcome to Comics League Indie Wednesday. I'm Jared, and today we are talking about Volume 3 of Undiscovered Country by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule. This one is titled Possibility. Now, what's cool about this is that each volume basically examines a different theme of America. The volume 2 was talking about technology. This one's talking about American culture, and it's like stories and legends and such. So what's cool about this one is that this also deals with the nature of the comic book industry, because what's interesting is that it brings up comic books are like the most successful cultural export that America has ever produced. Because when you think about it, everyone knows globally who's if you show the Superman S to anyone, they'll know that, okay, that's Superman, that's Batman, that's Wonder Woman, particularly with the movies that are coming out. But the point is that partly because of how widely adopted comic books and the comic book medium has been, because when you think about it, comic books, comic books in France inevitably trace their lineage to comic books here, which is really cool. And that deals a lot with this, with like Valentina, who was a comic book fan back in her day. And Valentina was the journalist that has the drone in this book. And she gets marooned on this island, which is basically an island inhabited by her favorite comic book characters, which are the Justice League. There's Bunker, the Web, Matryoshka, the Silver Fox, Demoticon, Pinocchio, and Hastronaut. It's basically they're all comic book superheroes. And then she escapes because here's the way this works. These things these beings, these superheroes, are actually just like artificial constructs, and they want to incorporate her into their story. So at first they're like, oh, we have to save you. So she hides, and she decides, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to incorporate myself into the story. But she becomes a supervillain named Captain Valentine. And what she does is she says, okay, I have mind control power. So guess what? You're going to kill each other. And they do it because they have to go along with what the story says. So that's how she escapes. So the rest of the crew shows up and they're like, don't worry, Valentine, we're going to save you. And she's like, what do you mean? I saved myself. I'm done. So it's really cool. And it's basically dealing with, again, a lot of American culture and cultural history, and a lot of American legends, again, in the same way that last volume talked about the technological advancements, like the car, the airplane, the spaceship, the astronaut thing. The technological innovations were volume 2. That's what that region of America is supposed to represent. This one's supposed to represent its like storytelling capacity. And even what's interesting is that you have one of those the American history buff in this group. He's now powerless, if you will. He's now knowledgeless, if you will, because previous to this volume, he was like the go-to guy for like American anything, American history, American artifacts and stuff. He's like the American history nerd of the group, but he doesn't know anything about like comic books or this stuff. So he's like, I'm out of my element here, guys. So in this way, Valentina actually takes over that role, which is actually really cool. And it's a really interesting way of like foiling those two. And then we also have like different types of pirate ships. And what's funny about this one is that they're on a pirate ship and then they're attacked by people in black and white. And what's kind of funny, it's like basically like Al Capone crime bosses and such. And it's really interesting because, again, like the gangster was part of American like folklore, as was the superhero and such. As was, they run into the crew lands on this island, and they find it's called the Island of Lore. I believe it's called the Island of Lore. Hang on, I'm looking that up. It's called the lands of legend and folk tales. They land and they find, all right, they find Annie Oakley, Davy Crockett, the Blue Bull, Paul Bunyan, and John Henry. Basically, all of the characters that have existed throughout American legend are here on this island, which is really cool how it does that. And basically, the whole book deals with it deals with American folklore. It's really cool how each subsequent volume deals with many different like components of American culture, which is actually really cool. A cool way to frame this series, which is all about. If you think about it, it's really about American patriotism, and it's really cool. And the only crazy way that Scott Snyder could do, which that's why he's one of my he and Charles Soule are some of my favorite writers of all time, with like Darth Vader, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, anything with Scott Snyder. Oh geez. But I think that's a good place to leave that volume. It's a really good series to talk about. So on that note, in terms of what I'm going to discuss next week, I have Sheriff of Babylon by Tom King, Volume 2. So I will be talking about that one next week. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be really fun. In terms of what else you can look up to, remember, movie night is this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be talking about Spawn, the Spawn movie, which with Michael J. White, a.k.a. a pretty solid 90s movie. And then we're also going to, Comics League Dark, we're going to be talking about the Blue Beetle trailer, the Spider-Verse trailer, and we're going to be talking about our favorite bat suits, among other things, in addition to like the Gotham Knight leaks of what was going to go in the game, but were taken on by Gotham Knight. I'm talking about the infinitely better game, not the crappy show. So on that note, everyone, stay heroic, and I will see you in the very next Indie Wednesday. Bye-bye.